The average person waits 4 years after they first think about investing before they actually do it. 4 years. Not because investing is complicated, it genuinely isn't, but because no one ever explained the part that actually matters. What happens when the number goes down and your stomach drops with it? Today we're going to fix that. We're going to cover the mechanics, the data behind the only strategy that consistently works for most people, and the psychological framework that separates investors who build wealth from the ones who sell at exactly the wrong moment. This is not financial advice. It's a map. Let's start with the thing that sounds boring, but is actually one of the most important findings in modern finance. The majority of actively managed mutual funds, funds where a team of highly paid professionals is picking stocks on your behalf, underperform a simple index fund over any 10-year period. That's not an opinion. It's a documented, repeatable, cross-market result that has held up for decades across multiple countries and economic cycles. The S&P 500 SPIVA reports have tracked this for years. The number varies slightly depending on the time window, but the direction never does. Most active managers lose to the index after fees. So what is an index fund? It's a fund that simply buys every stock in a given market index, say, the largest 500 companies in the U.S., in proportion to their size. No one is making calls, no one is predicting earnings. The fund just mirrors the market. And because no one is actively making decisions, the costs are a fraction of what active funds charge. This matters more than people realize. A difference of 1% in annual fees, compounded over 30 years, can consume a meaningful portion of your total returns. The math is not forgiving. Costs are the only variable in investing that you control with certainty. The market's return is not yours to dictate, but what you pay to access it is. The actionable insight here is direct. If you're a beginner with no edge, and no beginner has a genuine informational edge over institutional investors, the default choice that has outperformed the most sophisticated alternatives is a low-cost, broad index fund. That's not settling. That's reading the data correctly. Here's the question every new investor gets paralyzed by. Is now a good time to invest? The market feels high, or the market just dropped and feels uncertain. Or there's a geopolitical event, or rates are doing something. There is always a reason to wait. And that's the trap. Researchers have studied this extensively. One of the most cited analyses looked at what would have happened to an investor who missed just the 10 best trading days in the S&P 500 over a multi-decade period. Missing those 10 days, out of thousands of trading days, cut the total return roughly in half. The problem is, you never know when those days are coming. They often arrive in the middle of the worst periods, right when your instinct is screaming to stay out. The alternative strategy, dollar cost averaging, removes the timing decision entirely. You invest a fixed amount on a fixed schedule, regardless of what the market is doing. When prices are high, you buy fewer shares. When prices drop, you buy more. Over time, this averages out your cost basis and removes the emotional weight of trying to pick the perfect entry point. It also introduces a psychological benefit that's underrated. When the market drops, you're not just losing. You're also buying at a discount. Time in the market is not a platitude. It's what the compounding math requires. Compounding doesn't care about your feelings about valuations. It requires duration. Every year you wait to start is a year your money can't compound. And the years at the beginning of a compounding curve are disproportionately important to the outcome at the end. Start with what you can afford to leave untouched. Automate the contribution. Let time do the work that no analyst or algorithm has ever reliably replaced. The mechanics of investing are simple. The psychology is where most people fail. And it's worth being precise about why. When markets drop sharply, the human brain activates the same threat response system it uses for physical danger. This is not a character flaw. It's neuroscience. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between a charging predator and a 20% drawdown on your portfolio. The signal it sends is the same. Do something. Stop the pain. Selling feels like action. It feels like control. And that feeling is almost always wrong. Historically, every significant market decline has eventually been followed by recovery and new highs. That's not a guarantee about the future. Nothing in markets is. But it is the pattern that has defined equity markets over the long arc of economic history. The investors who compounded the most wealth were not the ones who navigated every cycle perfectly. They were the ones who did nothing during the panics. There are practical structures that help. First, never invest money you might need in the next 3 to 5 years. If you can't afford to watch that money drop 30% without needing to access it, it doesn't belong in equities. That single rule eliminates most forced selling. Second, don't check your portfolio daily. Frequency of checking correlates strongly with frequency of emotional decisions. Monthly is sufficient. Quarterly is fine. Third, and this is the one most people skip, write down your investment thesis before you invest. Why are you in this? What time horizon do you have? What would need to be permanently true about the world for this approach to fail? When you have that written down and a market correction hits, you have something to read instead of a sell button to press. This is not financial advice. But the gap between knowing the right strategy and actually executing it during stress is where wealth is either built or abandoned. The investors who close that gap don't have better information. They have better systems. We started by asking why intelligent people wait 4 years to do something that takes 20 minutes to set up. The answer was never complexity. It was the absence of a framework that makes the decision feel stable instead of reckless. You now have that framework. Low-cost index funds, consistent contributions over time, and a psychological system that keeps you from becoming your own worst risk. Next, we're going to ask the harder question. What do you do when that system is working, and you still want to do more? Subscribe and we'll get into that.